Welcome to another edition of Talking Models. Another blast from the past today. I'm digging into my Janus collection, and today we're going to take a look at the Tower of London by Janus Models. A beautiful sculpt, a beautiful kit. It displays well, and it's from one of the great movies from the past, The Tower of London with Boris Karloff. It is available in this Boris Karloff collection. It's one of the films in this collection of movies. I'd recommend giving it a chance and watching it and see more of the executioner in action. Let's talk a little bit now about the kit. As you can see, it's got Boris Karloff and his character is moored at the executioner table waiting for his next victim. It's a nice 1/6 scale kit. The kit does come with two heads. I'm going to show you the other one in a moment. Just kind of give you a little look at the kit. It's actually well done. Very nice kit. Little sneak peek at the Boris head. Just a really nice kit. So I'm going to go a little bit into detail on what I did with this one. This is a really good example of my technique of using a black base coat to bring out the colors in a more vibrant fashion, if you will. This whole thing, once again, was base coated in black. Usually primer with auto gray primer, and then I usually come back in hand painting the black on, and I love to use the Delta Cream Coat Black in the big bottles. You can get those things pretty cheap. And I just love always to just hand brush it on. It gives it a nice deep color. So with that done, I came in first. Like always, I start with the base. For me, again, like I've mentioned in previous videos, it helps me dictate what the rest of the kit is going to look like. So with this base, simply coming in with some grays. I started with, I normally like the neutral gray, but for this one, I actually use the Tombstone Gray, I believe it's called, from Garage US Colors. And it's a little bit different gray. It's not as light, as bright, if you will. So I thought that would be a nice place to start over the black. So I came in and I airbrushed all the squares of the base with the gray, Gravestone Gray. And then I came back in, of course, with one of my favorite tricks, transparent black. Kind of toned everything down. Then I came in on this one with some raw umber, transparent raw umber, and I did all the cracks in the base with that color. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a different tone. Usually I come in pretty tight, but I let some of the excess usually hit the outside of the cracks just to kind of blend it out and blend it all back together. So after I did that, naturally I came back in with the original gray and just kind of hit the centers of each stone, if you will. Just kind of a little bit brighter to show a different contrast. And then of course, a light misting of the transparent black to tone it all down. For the rat, basically all I did with that is dry brush some grays to bring the colors up on the rat. The tail was the Freak Flex Pink Eye Burgundy. Just love that color. Just lightly dry brush it. Just to me it looks like a rat's tail. For the bones and the skulls, I came in with actually the gray, the neutral gray, airbrushed that over all the skulls, all the bones. Came back in with the transparent raw umber over that. Just kind of misted it over, you know, in some of the areas on the top of the skull, inside the crevices of the skull. And then of course back in with the gray, the neutral gray, hit it all again, and then of course you guessed it, brought it all back down with the transparent black. Went a little heavier in the eye area of the black, give it that sunken in look. The actual cutting block, if you will, was done with the neutral, Italian brown, and also the other more of a reddish brown that I like using too on this. So I sprayed that with that brown, back and forth, toned it all down with the transparent black. Now you can see some of the markings of his last victims on here, some of the red. I didn't want to get overkill that, so I came in with my dark red and just took the airbrush and gently misted in the front area a little bit. As you can see, the top of the cutting board from backsplash from his last victim. And I think it gives you just a mild idea of what happened here, but not overly powerful and gross. To me, I don't like to do that. I like to keep it tame. The sign itself was airbrushed on the back of the sign here. I liked using some yellows and tans. I kind of just mixed that in a little bit. And the letters itself was just basically hand painted in with Freak Flex Ripper Red. I just really like that color. Then, of course, when I was done with that, I just basically misted some trans black just to bring it all down. Now, to the figure itself, a variety of different things going here. Again, over that black, this is where you get that vibrant colors. Again, I started building up the browns on his belt. I just kept going back and forth with the browns, and then, of course, the trans black to bring it all back down. His cloak itself, his shirt, was done with a couple different greens. I always like to start with the olive green, and then I like to come back in with light green and just hit all the highlight areas, around the neck area, sleeve area, around the bottom of his shirt, just the highlights. And this is, to me, where the transparent black technique I use really helps. As you tone it down and take that black and you start filling in the crevices and all those shadows, it just gives it this worn look, and that's exactly what I was looking for on this kit. And I believe the technique really stands out on this piece. His pants, if you will, strictly done with the Freak Flex Nair Black through an airbrush. You just kind of go over that black, and it just gives you that different color look, black but yet gray yet black. And of course, when you come back in with the trans black, it brings it down, tones everything down, and you're enabled to use that trans black again to fill in the crevices in his legs. Boots, straight up browns, just airbrush browns into them. A little heavier in the heel area, toe area, top of the boots. And of course, then you bring in your transparent black and you tone it back down and work in the crevices of the boots. And it just gives you a nice finished look. His axe, if you will, again, over the black, this technique really pops out. When you come in and you use a little bit of a darker reddish brown in here, again, it's up to the artist what colors you use. I just thought it blended well this way, so I just airbrushed the handle, the top of the blade handle, and then toned it back down with the transparent black. Airbrush silver for his blade, then came back in with that dark red and just misted the bottom area a little bit and kind of blended it up, just so you get that look of who's next. Just took care of business. His hands on this one, I kind of went again with some of my favorite coloring, the line of Reaper paints from their Master Series, their flesh tone set, which is basically like a suntan flesh, suntan highlight, suntan shadow. So basically just working back and forth with the colors you can see in the hands, the face, starting with the base coat, coming in with the shadow highlights, coming in and all the folds, and then naturally back in with the tan highlight. And then of course you hit all the highlight areas of the face, the hands, the knuckles, the fingertips, all that good stuff. Then of course, believe it or not, I just came in from there with a little bit of the transparent black through my Renegade Chrome, because I can get real close with that, and just kind of came in and just hit certain areas of his face to kind of give it that dirty look, but yet still keep the flesh tones. For his eyes, was kind of really hard with this. You really got to work in between the mask, if you will. Went with my Asphyxia Blue for the eyes and just worked in a little bit of the neutral gray for the eye color instead of straight up white. And then of course my famous, for me, technique of the toothpick to get that pupil just right. Take the toothpick, dip it in the black, touch the center, perfect circle. His cowl, if you will, again over the black, was done with the same as the pants. I used the Nair Black, airbrush that in, and it gives you that effect of a little bit of a black mask, but it has some highlight areas thanks to the neutral gray. So that's him basically with this head. We'll pop this one out and we'll put Boris's head in. Hopefully I can do this while sitting down, and you can kind of get a look. Comes with the two heads. and this is the Boris head. Same techniques on him that I used on this one. The neutral grays, the suntan flesh, highlights. This one I did a little bit different. I brought in some reds around his eyes. Transparent Mars red was used to kind of shade in the lips, below the eyes. A little bit on his cheekbones, top of his nose, just to kind of give him that fleshy look with a little bit of reds. Then of course the transparent black to bring in the shadows of the face, like a shadow, 5 o'clock shadow. And the eyebrows, again, this is where some dry brushing comes in, using some of that light gray, just dry brush the eyebrows a little bit. And as you can see, that it goes well too with this head on there. It just gives him, you get to see Boris's face. So it's a nice little touch on this kit. Now for the beading around his shirt here, that was just straight up dry brushing of silver, dry brushing of some gold on the top of his sword, and then voila, that was basically what I did with him. Of course, then you come in with the Tester's dull coat. I probably did at least 3 coats on this one. I really wanted to bring everything down to just a really dull, old look, and I think I pulled it off with this one. So that is Janus Tower of London. This kit seems to show up quite a bit on eBay. You can get it pretty cheap. You know, if you see one, you grab one and add it to your Janus collection. You know, if you can pick up a Janus kit for under $200, you're doing something right. You know, people are clearing out old kits so they can buy the new kits, so there's always opportunities in this hobby to get the kit that you're looking for. And that was the case with this one. So again, thank you today for tuning in to Talking Models with Troy Nayert. And I believe the next couple installments we're probably going to do some Janus kits. I'm going to go through my Janus kits that I've done and kind of highlight them over the next couple episodes. Give you an opportunity to see some of these kits. Maybe you've never seen a Janus kit. Maybe you now want a Janus kit. And that's what I like to do with this channel. Just kind of shows some kits from the past and up to the present, and give people an opportunity to see what's out there and to see those kits that created this garage kit legacy. You know, the Januses and all the early geometric designs. All those companies that paved the way. Mike Parks, who we lost this last year, and many others that have just paved the way through blood, sweat, and tears to bring kits into our collections. Thank you, guys. So we'll see you next time for a new installment of Talking Models with Troy Nayert. And if you get a chance, subscribe to the channel. Share this channel with some friends of yours at modeling buddies. Let them know what's out there. And join us in these installments of just Talking Model Kits. Have a great day, and God bless.